the St. Clair College Saints have earned the right to host a pair of OCAA championships next year. The Saints will host the OCAA Cross Country Championships on October 26, 2019. St. Clair's men's team is coming off of the school's first ever national team title after claiming the provincial crown in 2018 for the first time since 1990. St. Clair will also host the OCAA Women's Basketball Championships on March 26th to the 28th in 2020. Led by OCAA leading scorer Jana Kachera, the Saints took the OCAA silver medal in March and finished 7th at the national championships. Led by head coach Andy Kiss, the Saints will enter next year's event looking for its first provincial championship since 2004. On the show today is UFC fighter. It's got a nice ring to it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Propolec, who just made his UFC debut last week in Ottawa against Nordine Taleb. Kyle, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
First and foremost, what does it feel like for you to call yourself a UFC fighter on that roster?
It's the way it feels for me, man. It's just so surreal. Like
March 9th, that was the last time you were in the main event of BTC here in Windsor, right? So you weren't expecting to maybe get a call right away from the UFC, but then things happen, right?
Yeah, things happen. Like literally like a week out from UFC Ottawa, my coach and like team gave me a call and they're like, well, you know, congrats, you made it. After like there's a little bit of like things that I saw on Twitter that I saw one of my buddies post, and I'm like, oh, Nordine needs an opponent. I'm like, you know, like much respect to you, Nordine, but if you need someone, I'll step up. And then after that, it kind of just domino affected, and then, you know, my coach and management, they, you know, talked to people and, you know, got a lot of help and support from not only from Windsor, but from other gyms and everywhere else. And like I said, it's just surreal and a whirlwind of just being like, yeah, you made it. And it's like, no way. Yeah. Like this just happened.
Yeah. How long was that process? Maybe when you heard that the Taleb's opponent had fallen out and then you got the call saying, how many days was that? Was it like kind of anxiety induced, or were you just kind of tranquilo and just, I'm just going to wait and see what happens?
Just wait and see what happens. Like I was just like, I saw it on Twitter like the Wednesday, the week and a half before the fight, and then everything was finalized and finished, I would say probably Saturday afternoon, where I got to sign like the contracts and everything, and I'm like, no way, this is insane.
Talk about the journey, because you started training in mixed martial arts and you had your first fights over a decade ago, but this was always the ultimate goal. Getting to UFC was the ultimate goal. Take a look back at where you were at 10 years ago and where you are now, and maybe imagine yourself signing that contract. It's got to be a fantastic feeling to call yourself a UFC fighter. Yeah,
it's a fantastic feeling. Like you said, when I was 18, like I went from my first fights to like go to Michigan just to do some amateur fights, get your feet wet.
Some smokers, as they call them.
Yeah,
right?
smoker shows, pretty much. And then it was like, we all like gyms from here and other places, we'd all meet at this gym called Kerry Roops, and we'd all just get matched up. There was like, they're like, oh, you look about the same weight, you're about the same size, same skill level. This is the rules, this is how we go, here you go. And then you just go. And then it was slowly working its way up, because it wasn't legalized in Canada yet till about when the Score Fighting Series was there. But it was like, man, we went from 18 to being like, you know, you think you're, you know, decent and good, and then all of a sudden you're at that next level and you're like, man, I was not that good back then.
How happy were you that you were able to land some significant combinations and push the pace during the fight? You were controlling the center of the octagon the entire time, for the most part anyway, and you were taking his offense. How proud of you are the way that you were able to perform on such a short amount of notice?
I think it shows that, you know, how tough like a Windsor athlete is, and how tough Windsor is, and how we belong there. We're at that level, and I think going the distance and pushing the pace and showing that you're willing to fight and not even take that much damage, I think it shows and proves that I belong there and I'm here to like stay, kind of thing. So
this week's TSS Spotlight is shining on longtime Windsor Lancers women's basketball head coach Chantal Vallee, who earned her first victory as the head coach and general manager of the Hamilton Honey Badgers of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Hamilton scored the game's first 11 points and never trailed during the contest, as they went on to take a 106-83 victory over the Edmonton Stingers before a crowd of 1,776 at First Ontario Centre in Hamilton for their season opener. Congrats on once again making history, Chantal Vallee.